He didn't grow up with the spotlight. There was no silver spoon, no parade of scouts lined up at his front door, no viral academy clip that broke the internet before his 16th birthday. Instead, there was a quiet boy dribbling a ball through the narrow streets and open fields of England, balancing dreams in his mind and fire in his heart. His story wasn't loud, yet. But deep down, in the place only true champions know, he believed his time would come. And belief, when paired with sacrifice, has a strange way of turning whispers into destiny. For Jamie Gittens, football wasn't just a sport. It was escape. It was identity. It was prayer. Before millions would chant his name in blue, before European nights under the lights, before the weight of a $50 million transfer brought expectations large enough to crush a lesser soul, there was simply a young boy who touched the ball like it was a secret he wasn't ready to share with the world. He wasn't chasing fame. He was chasing something bigger, self-worth, purpose, and the feeling of belonging on the pitch more than anywhere else. Those who knew him say he carried himself differently even as a kid. Quiet, but not timid. Reserved, but never doubtful. He didn't need to speak loudly because his talent whispered louder than any boast could. In grassroots football, he glided, cutting through defenses like he'd been born under stadium lights instead of street lamps. He wasn't just fast. He was graceful, not just technical, but instinctual, like he had studied the rhythm of the game before he could fully understand his own young emotions. But talent alone rarely guarantees destiny. The road to greatness was never meant to be smooth. There are always rejections. Always moments where the world tests if you truly want what you say you want. And in those early years, Jamie learned that dreams don't bow to convenience. He would move clubs, chase opportunities, step away from comfort, each decision carving him closer to his future. From Reading to Chelsea's academy, from Chelsea to Manchester City, from the familiar English landscape to the unforgiving German proving ground of Borussia Dortmund, every chapter demanded sacrifice. Every move meant leaving something behind to chase something greater. And in Germany, far from home, surrounded by a language he barely knew, a culture he had to adapt to, and expectations that didn't care about his age or his fears, Jamie stopped being just a talented kid. He became resilient, independent, hungry in a way only those who uproot their lives before adulthood can understand. Dortmund doesn't build stars. It refines steel. It turns raw ability into sharpened ambition. At BVB, you either rise or the pressure cracks you. And there, under the yellow wall, Jamie found himself not just surviving, but blossoming. His dribbling began to turn heads. His boldness started unsettling defenders. His ability to glide past opponents felt almost unfair, like the game slowed down just for him. Germany taught him patience, humility, and grit. He wasn't made overnight. He was forged. He faced setbacks, too. Injuries, frustrating spells, moments where form dipped and confidence shook. These are the chapters football fans rarely see. The lonely nights in rehabilitation rooms, the internal battles, the questions players ask themselves when life doesn't move at the pace their talent does. But every comeback carved him deeper, every challenge sharpened his edges, and every time he laced up again, he returned hungrier, stronger, more ready. Analysts saw not just skill, but a star being sculpted. They saw a winger who played fearless, who carried the ball like it was attached to his foot by thread and faith. They saw unpredictability, lightning acceleration, and the quiet confidence of a player who didn't need to scream to be heard. His rise was steady, not explosive, earned, not gifted, loved by teammates, respected by coaches, admired by those who saw the grind behind the highlights. And then came the moment that would change everything. The Premier League called again. But this time not as a boy in an academy shirt. This time as a man ready to write his name among giants. Chelsea came knocking, not out of hope, but conviction. Not because of potential, but because of proof. They saw a player who could redefine the club's future. They weren't signing a project. They were signing a statement. $48 million. Some reports even whisper $55 million, a number that wasn't meant to intimidate him, but to validate him. The most expensive uncapped English player, a badge of belief from one of football's biggest stages. And as the cameras flashed and the world reacted, Jamie remained the same. Calm, focused, aware of the pressure, but unafraid of it. Because when you have walked through uncertainty and kept walking, pressure becomes a companion, not a threat. Suddenly, the boy who once kicked a ball in quiet parks was stepping into Stamford Bridge under the roar of history. Blue jersey on his back, the badge over his heart, the next chapter begun. Supporters holding their breath, critics watching closely, teammates ready to test him, embrace him, challenge him. London calling again, but this time it wasn't homecoming. It was coronation. And off the pitch, life evolved too. Luxury crept into his world, not as vanity, but as reward. Elegant cars, modern homes, London lights instead of Dortmund nights. Yet those who know him say nothing changed at his core. He still values humility, still values family, still finds grounding in faith and gratitude. Because true luxury isn't the car you drive, it's waking up knowing you earned your place. As he steps into a league where legends are carved every weekend, he doesn't boast, he prepares. As fans debate his ceiling, star or superstar, promise or era definer, he trains. Because the truth about Jamie Gittens is simple. He didn't come here to be a moment, he came here to be a legacy. And the Premier League, with all its noise, all its challenges, all its unforgiving spotlight, is about to witness a new chapter in English football. One written by a young man who never chased fame, only greatness. And when you never chase fame, fame has no choice but to chase you. He walked into Chelsea not as a savior, not as a star already built, but as a force quietly rising. Like a tide you done to see coming until it's touching the steps of the castle. Some transfers arrive with fireworks, some arrive like oxygen, quiet, essential, and soon impossible to ignore. Jamie Gittens was the latter, a signing not for noise but for future headlines. From the first moment he stepped into Cobham, there was a different aura around him. Not arrogance, purpose. He wasn't trying to prove he belonged, he already knew he did. He wasn't looking around to see who was watching. He was locked in on the work ahead. The Premier League, the most unforgiving league in world football, had eaten bigger reputations and crushed louder talents. Yet his shoulders didn't dip. His expression never cracked. When you grow in the Bundesliga furnace, noise doesn't scare you. Expectation doesn't shake you. You don't crumble. You evolve. Chelsea's training pitches became his new proving ground. Elite defenders, rapid transitions, physical duels, tactical systems that demand intelligence and hunger. This was the crucible where the weak fade and the chosen rise. And in those early days, teammates noticed. A touch that killed the ball instantly. Dribbles that felt like silk disguising steel. The courage to take players on not for show, but because the pitch is his canvas and movement his brush. There is a specific type of competitiveness that lives inside young footballers who uproot themselves early. A quiet edge, a discipline born not from instruction, but from necessity. The Bundesliga had given him that. Patience, humility, resilience. Now, Chelsea would give him something else, scale, legacy, a stage where one moment can echo for years. But pressure is not just on the pitch. Luxury becomes louder in London. Bright lights, high expectations, paparazzi waiting for a slip, a whisper, a story. In a city where fame can be a trap, where distractions line every street and temptation is dressed as opportunity, Jamie remains grounded. He knows who he is. He knows where he came from. He knows the silent sacrifices behind the scenes, the family support, the prayers, the quiet tears, the long nights overseas where doubt and determination fought inside him until only hunger survived. That is what separates him from those who play for applause. He does not chase validation, he chases mastery, and Chelsea, in its new era, is a canvas painted not with established superstars, but with hungry, ascending ones. Cole Palmer, Christopher Nkunku, Carney Chukwuemeka, Noni Madueke, a generation not waiting their turn, but taking it. And into that mix walked Jamie. Another blade of lightning added to Chelsea's growing storm. Yet talent is just one part of evolution. True greatness is forged in challenge. There will be games where the ball won't fall right, moments where the rhythm of the Premier League feels too fast, too physical, too ruthless. Critics will circle, headlines will sharpen. Some fans, impatient by nature, will ask questions before answers have time to breathe. This league doesn't wait for anyone. And yet, the greatest rise not because the path is smooth, but because they refuse to stop walking. And behind closed doors, in quiet hours away from cameras, Jamie prepares. Every sprint, every tactical briefing, every repetition, every moment spent sharpening weapons for wars he hasn't fought yet. These are the unseen chapters, the ones that make champions feel inevitable long before they are crowned. Off the pitch, he experiences new realities. His life stretches. New city, new home, new routines, new circles. The comfort of familiarity replaced by the pressure of responsibility. But there is peace in transition when you trust your direction. There is confidence in the unknown when you walk with faith. He wears success with humility and luxury with gratitude, like someone who remembers every step that led here. The boy playing on local fields is still inside him, not lost, just armored. And that boy dreams bigger now. Wembley nights, Champions League anthems, England call-ups, golden boots whispered in future tense, legacy whispered in present tense. There is something magnetic about players like Jamie. Not loud, not boastful, but inevitable. They move differently. They breathe differently. They see football not as entertainment, but as language, art, expression. They don't run from pressure. They inhale it like fuel. Every touch at Stamford Bridge tells a story. Every run hints at a future defenders will fear. Every take-on is a declaration. I belong here, and I'm not done rising. His style is electric yet thoughtful, brave yet calculated. A reminder that true flair isn't chaos. It's poetry disguised as speed. And the fans, slowly at first, begin to feel it. That feeling supporters get when they know they're witnessing not just a player, but a journey unfolding. The excitement isn't built on hype. It's built on promise. The kind of promise that breathes. The kind that grows in silence before exploding in brilliance. Chelsea supporters know legends don't always arrive fully formed. Sometimes they arrive with a suitcase of dreams and a heart full of fight. Sometimes they arrive humble, patient, determined, and then, suddenly, they take over. And in the background, unseen but powerful, his personal world strengthens him. Family pride, cultural heritage, the roots of Barbados in his blood, the English dream in his heart, the faith that guides his steps, the discipline that guards his success. These pieces build foundations fame can't break. When he steps out at Stamford Bridge, lights pouring down like destiny made visible, he's not just representing a club. He's carrying every silent sacrifice, every childhood dream whispered into late-night darkness, every moment where quitting would have been easier, but believing felt necessary. That's why he plays with freedom. That's why pressure doesn't scare him, because pressure only overwhelms those who aren't built for it. Jamie is built differently, built through movement, built through change, built through challenge. He didn't rise by accident, he rose by intention. And this story is still in its early chapters. The Premier League is watching, England is watching, Europe is watching. And somewhere out there, another young kid dribbles a ball under streetlights, dreaming in silence, not realizing he is watching his future inspiration take flight. This isn't hype. This is prophecy beginning to wake. and the world is only just beginning to understand who Jamie Gittens truly is. There comes a moment in every rising career when talent stops being a promise and becomes a responsibility, not to the club, not to the critics, but to oneself. Jamie Gittens understands this now. Every time he pulls that Chelsea shirt over his chest, every time he looks up at the sea of blue roaring in expectation, every time he touches the ball and senses the weight of history beneath his boots, he feels it. The responsibility to rise, the duty to transform potential into something unforgettable. Because great players don't chase moments, they build them. And this is the phase where boys become men, where good becomes great, where the world stops asking, "Can he?" and starts declaring, "He did." This is the phase every future legend must pass through, the proving ground between memory and immortality. Jamie arrived in the Premier League with a quiet smile, a calm mind, and a heart full of belief. But belief alone is never enough. Belief must evolve into bravery. And bravery is not loud. Bravery is deliberate. It's showing up when the world grows heavy. It's attacking defenders even after losing the ball. It's standing tall in hostile stadiums, where jeers echo and pressure breathes on your neck like a storm ready to swallow the unprepared. He walks into grounds drenched in history, Anfield's anthem vibrating like thunder, Old Trafford's legacy hanging in the air like steel, the Etihad humming with relentless ambition, the Emirates full of hunger and pride, and in each arena he does not shrink. He absorbs, he watches, he learns, he prepares. And then, in flashes that feel like electricity sparking through the bones of spectators, he begins to show why Chelsea believed, why Dortmund entrusted him, why England whispers his name even before caps arrive. These flashes, they are not accidents. They are previews. Jamie plays football like someone who sees frames others miss. He doesn't just run, he glides. He doesn't just dribble, he disrupts rhythm, twists energy, bends defenders out of shape like a sculptor reshaping clay at full speed. He is fluid but fierce, elegant but fearless. The kind of player who doesn't just take space, he creates worlds inside it. And perhaps the most important thing, he wants to improve. Ambition without discipline is noise, but ambition paired with humility, that becomes legacy. He trains before others arrive. He studies video after matches. He listens to coaches not because he doubts himself, but because greatness is never satisfied with today's version. Confidence is knowing your worth. Humility is knowing you can always be more. Jamie carries both like armor. Off the pitch, life expands. Brand partnerships begin to whisper, stylists pitch looks, luxury cars arrive not as trophies but as symbols of work done, not gifts. Fans want photos, media watches every move, and young kids begin to copy his stepovers on concrete playgrounds. This is the life he earned, but not one he flaunts without gratitude, because he remembers what it felt like to be unseen. He remembers choosing training over parties, early mornings over easy mornings, consistency over comfort. He honors his roots, the places, the people, the prayers that shaped him. He carries home in his heart like a compass, and that, more than talent, protects him from being lost in fame's glittering maze. Because when a player's identity rests not in applause, but in purpose, there is no spotlight bright enough to blind him. And one day soon, when he breaks beyond early promise and begins forcing analysts to talk about him not as the next big thing, but the thing, there will be a moment, a goal, a run, a dribble, a roar of the bridge rising like a wave behind him. A moment where the camera zooms in and you see it, the realization in his eyes. The moment he understands he isn't just part of Chelsea's future. He is part of Chelsea's story. That moment will not feel surprising to those who watched him grow. It will feel inevitable. Because destiny never arrives suddenly. It arrives slowly, then all at once. Some players shine young, then fade. Some burn late. Some never ignite at all. But the rare ones, the special ones, they simmer, then blaze. And Jamie Gittens is simmering with purpose. He knows criticism will come. He knows every performance will be judged, every touch monitored, every decision magnified, but pressure is not his enemy. Stagnation is. Pressure feeds him. Pressure sharpens edges. Pressure is proof that the world expects something extraordinary, and he welcomes that weight like someone who's been training to lift it since childhood. Does he want to be the best winger in England? Yes. Does he want to wear the Three Lions shirt and make a nation rise to its feet? Absolutely. Does he want to etch his name into the rhythm of Stamford Bridge nights? To become a player kids sing about on the way to school? To stand under Champions League lights and feel the anthem swell inside his bones? Without question. But here is the truth about Jamie. He doesn't want it for the attention. He wants it because he loves the game. Because football is breath for him. Because when the world falls away and only the ball remains, he feels most alive. He was not built for fame. He was built for football. Fame is simply the echo. And as this chapter unfolds, as defenders learn his name the hard way, as fans begin to expect magic instead of hope for it, as critics shift from doubt to praise, remember this: the world is not watching a boy trying to rise. The world is watching a man stepping into who he always was. One day, the headlines won't say promising talent. They will say star, then leader, then legacy. Because greatness is not a moment, it is accumulation. It is brick by brick, run by run, sacrifice by sacrifice. And Jamie Gittens is building something powerful, not for claps, not for fame, but for the love of the game and the pride of every chapter that led him here. In the years to come, when fans look back at the origins of a career that inspired millions, they will remember this time, the beginning. When a young man arrived with quiet confidence, put his head down and earned his destiny. When Chelsea didn't just sign a player, they signed a future. And when he lifts trophies, when he becomes a name children chant, when his career inspires documentaries like this one about the next generation, one truth will remain clear. He didn't rise overnight. He rose every day. And the world didn't choose him. He chose greatness first. Jamie Gittens is not here to be the moment. He is here to become the memory future legends point to and say, that's how you rise.